Britt, I listen to the 3-0 show on the Athletic Baseball Podcast Network every week. Big fan. And I know you mentioned this week that you did. Yes, of course. Great mix there with you and DVR and Eno. And I know you guys were talking this week about the Mets a little bit, and that you were with them maybe at this point about a week ago. You spent some time over there. So what did you observe from that team? And obviously, as you know, in this game, things change fast. They're looking a lot better than probably when you were asking them questions, because a week ago it was like disaster control.
Yeah, it was really ugly, and I have a really fun story going up tomorrow, guys, that I don't want to tease too much, but I really had to wait for them to win a couple games, or people were going to be like, "Oh my God, the Mets are terrible, and this is what she's writing about." I kind of get into what makes Buck Buck a little bit, and one of the best quotes is Buck's like, "Is this story going to embarrass me?" And the answer is yes. It probably is going to embarrass him. But there was not a whole lot of laughing. Tommy Hunter put it kind of best when I was there. He said, "The Rays are red hot. The Metropolitans? Absolutely not." And he just kind of deadpanned it. And it was true. I mean, they were dealing with Verlander still really not being back yet. Max Scherzer having a neck injury, which I don't think enough people realize. Him coming back that quickly, this is the same neck injury that forced him out of the World Series, that forced him out of that start. So it's bad when Max Scherzer is missing a World Series start. And he wants to pitch for the Mets badly when he's able to really have it only be a couple days. I saw he's got the callus, and he's like, I'd rather pitch through the pain. I mean, he is upset now that he's not living up to this billing. So I think what you saw with him and Verlander in that doubleheader is what the Mets should be, right? And what everyone has kind of been waiting on. So it's really been over the last 5 days, this is what you expected the Mets to be versus what we saw for the first 6 weeks of the season, which was just an old, unathletic team that really had a lot of holes. And I think that the kids, the young trio of Mets prospects really look like they've energized that team a lot. I think that they're finally getting healthy, and there isn't enough made about that. I covered a Nationals team that was 19-31 and won the World Series because they had so many injuries early on. I know we sit here and analyze, and I do it too, but it is not yet Memorial Day. So there's still a ton of time. A hot week can change the entire standings right now. And I think the New York Mets are a really great example of that. I mean, they've won 5 in a row. All of a sudden, they're kind of in the hunt here, breathing down the neck of the Braves, when a week ago, people were wondering, are people going to get fired? I think we sometimes take stuff too far, especially for a team that has as many expectations as the 2023 New York Mets.
So is there a chance that Buck could change his tune for his entire career as a manager and actually consistently play rookies? Or is that not going to happen and he just wants to put his vets back in?
So I think he may. I think, honestly, he gets a bad rep for that kind of stuff. Manny Machado came up and played a different position and helped the Orioles get to the postseason when he was 19 years old. They weren't afraid to promote him from AA, and they weren't afraid to put him in a different position. I think the important things for Buck are, can this guy handle it defensively, and can he handle the spotlight of New York, right? And I think what you're seeing with a guy like Francisco Alvarez, for example, he has played his way into more playing time, right? If these guys are going to hit and they're going to perform and they're going to prove that they're not overwhelmed by things, they're going to play more. Yes, he gets kind of a lot of flack for being a veteran guy, but that is the way the game was managed 3 decades ago when he was a manager. He's adapted in some fronts, but I think you're still dealing with, a little bit of, well, I did this for 50 years this way. And when we're talking about some of the veterans in the Mets clubhouse, Eduardo Escobar jumps to mind. That's an important glue guy. That's a guy who is going out and making friends with everyone, the Spanish-speaking guys, the older guys, the younger guys, the English-speaking guys, the coaches. He went out and bought the coaching staff all these belts. He got them for the athletic trainers, these custom things. He's taking guys out to dinner. I mean, this is a guy who Buck knows, regardless of what he does on the field, is just important to the team. So I think you have to balance that too. But certainly if those young Mets kids, the Mets babies, as I think that they were called this morning in a headline, if they're going to continue to perform, Buck's not stupid. He wants to win. He's going to play them. But I think when it's going to be a tiebreaker, the veteran guy's always going to win in his mind.